Hello guys, and welcome to the second part of my tutorial how to create a simple CRUD system in PHP. And this is where we left in the first part of this tutorial. We've created this code here which enables us to connect and select the database, to connect to our server and select the database. We have tested it out for any errors and we know that this code here works. Now we're gonna go ahead and as I said in the end of the first part here, that I will show you how to retrieve data from the database and display the data in the browser using PHP. Now I have already navigated to our database here, but if you have difficulty to find that, you can see here on my localhost server I clicked our database name, then our table name, people, here on the left side, and I have already inserted two names here just to show you the data, how the data is displayed here on our PHPMyAdmin area. Now we'll create in PHP the code to retrieve the data from our database and display it on the browser in a user-friendly way, or in the way that we would like them to be displayed. I'm gonna go ahead and minimize this here, and for to speed up the things, and since I don't want to focus too much on the HTML or CSS part, I've already created a data display here in HTML5 here, not too much really, but I'm gonna go ahead and make sure that you see how this code looks like. I'm gonna go ahead and reload here, data display. This is my name. These are two rows. Now basically what this code here will do later, after the addition of the PHP here, after we add the PHP code, it will take this values here, ID, first name, last name and age, and display them here. And basically we're gonna replace this my name and my last name here, my first name and my last name and my age, with these values here. And later up we're gonna create the code to add a new person here, or to delete a person, or to edit the existing information that we have in our database. But right now let's proceed with the reading of the code here, reading of the database, looping the data from our database. And for that we're going to need this file here included in our data display here. Since we need to access our database, would say include db.php. Gonna go ahead and reload here. We don't have any error. Then next up, I would need to query the table, and the usual way how I do it is by saving the SQL as a string. SQL is equal to select everything from the table people here, oops, not coming, people, and then I'm gonna go ahead and query this SQL string here, and I say query is equal to MySQL query SQL or die MySQL error. So basically this code here is always used when we are dealing with MySQL stuff, and this code here will output an error, as in this case here, in our database case, if this query here fails. So I'm gonna go ahead and reload here to see if we have any error. We don't have any. But if I say, for example, here people, I change the database, the table name to something like wrong, you can see here that we have an error, which is say that table tutorial dot wrong does not exist, and this means that our code is working. And that's it. Now, before displaying the data here, we need to make sure that we have any record. I'm gonna go ahead and delete these two records here. Then we're gonna insert those two records again later. But for now, I'm gonna say here, right at the beginning of our code, I say right here, I'm gonna say PHP if MySQL num rows query else don't worry, I will explain to you in a minute what this code here does. Basically, what we're saying here is, I'm gonna go ahead and delete this code here. What we said here is this code here will check if we have any rows in our table here that we queried, and if there is any row, then we'll proceed with a loop here that I will create later. If not, then this error here will be output, and in our browser will be displayed this h2 tag with this message, nothing to display. We'll show that to you. Reload, and as you can see here, since we don't have any records in our table, this message is being displayed. Now I'm gonna reinsert those rows. Now let's see if anything changes here. Reload. Now we don't see anything because we haven't created the loop yet to retrieve the data, but we can see that our code is working since that message is has disappeared from the screen. Now we will proceed like this. We would need to create a while loop for getting the data from our database, and I would say PHP while row is equal to MySQL fetch assoc or array, like this. These two MySQL functions here work the same. I usually prefer assoc query, so this query here. Then I'm gonna go ahead and break the PHP code here and loop comment. It's very good practice to always comment out here at the end of our code to remind us what this code does. Okay, now I'm gonna go ahead and say div. I've created a div of class separator div, and I'm gonna go ahead and say here h2 first name, and this is where we access now the database records, and that is like this: PHP echo row first name, then last name, and h2 age row age. Let's see here what we have. Reload, and as you can see here, this code is working, meaning that we are getting. I'm gonna go ahead and copy this separator div class here and paste it after the loop, so we have another nice row here at the end of our HTML output. And as you can see here, we are retrieving the data from our database with these very simple lines of code here. Nothing really hard or special. If I insert a new row here with my name, and if I go ahead here and reload, as you can see here that my name is displaying right below this these other two names here. And that's it for this part of the tutorial. In the next part, I will show you how to create a new record here by pressing this button and with the help of a HTML form. Thanks for watching. See you in the next part.